It's so nice just to settle in. Take your feet about as wide apart as the mat. Turn your toes in and let your knees lean together. Oh, I'm going to make sure everybody's muted. I see one here. Get rid of those cookie clocks.
Yeah, that's my clock.
Yeah, I'll mute that. There we go. Gotcha. Okay. Let's begin. Lying down, knees bent, toes turned in, knees leaning together, arms open out to your sides with your palms turned up. Shake your head no, jostle your shoulders, wiggle your jaw, stretch your face, take a great big yawn. And just melt into the floor. Find your breath. Let it come slowly in and out through your nose. Let your breath become longer, slower, deeper. How slow can you go? And bending your elbows, place your hands on your belly. Focus your attention and your breath in your belly. Let your belly rise and fall. And observe the effect these deep belly breaths have on your back. Notice that as you exhale, draw your belly in, press your breath out. Maybe your lower back comes a little closer to the floor. And as you inhale, as your belly balloons outward, maybe your lower back rebounds away from the floor. Let your fingertips find those front hip bones. And your thumbs spread up to touch your bottom ribs. Not only let your breath move the belly up and down, but also involve a little pelvic tilting so that as you inhale, your belly stretches longer, distance between hip bones and rib cage increases. And as you exhale, the distance between hip bones and rib cage shortens. Setting up a little bit more of a pelvic rock. As you inhale, your belly balloons outward, your belly stretches long. And as you exhale, your belly draws inward, your pelvis tilts to lengthen your lower back. Scoop in your tummy. So exaggerate that. Big belly breath, big sway back inhale. And as you exhale, scoop that belly in. Get a good deep wrinkle across your belly button. Keep it going. Inhale. Long belly. Maybe the back of your head is sliding on the floor. And as you exhale, scoop that belly in, do a little pelvic thrust tilt. Maybe the back of your head slides across your pillow. And keep it going. Big pelvic tucks and untucks, rocking your hips. Your legs are apart a little bit. They have to separate your knees so that you can get that pelvic tilt to happen. And really exaggerate it. Maybe you're letting your knees wing wide apart as you inhale. Big belly breath. And as you exhale, draw your knees together. Squeeze your thighs closed. Get even more of a tilt, a tuck. Try doing this with your abs, not your butt. Those inner thighs help engage those abs. Pull in that pelvic floor. Scoop in your belly. And as you inhale, belly balloons outward, legs separate. Exhaling. Almost like a butterfly, flapping your wings here. Getting some good breath movement, big belly movement. Legs are moving. And the breath is driving all this movement. Your core musculature, your inner being doing the work, not so much your bottom. Next time you exhale, close up shop. You're going to bring the bottoms of your feet together. And as you inhale, let those knees butterfly open out to the side. Now you're in this Supta Baddha Konasana, sleeping butterfly pose. Feet are together, knees are apart. Hands go to the very top of your thighs. And you could use the knuckles of your hands, the heels of your hands to push your thighs away from your armpits and get a little bit longer in your lower back. Just take a moment there to jostle your hips by pressing on your thighs. Press the right hip, press the left thigh, side to side, jostle your hips a little bit. And then straighten your arms as much as you can. Really press those thighs away from your armpits and find that belly. As you inhale, let that belly balloon out. And as you exhale, pull your belly in. Feeling a slightly different lower area of the abdomen move now. Inhale, big belly. Arms are still strong, pushing on those thigh bones, feeling that expansion lower down in the abdomen, closer to that pubic bone. And then as you exhale, pull in that belly. Feel that drag, that pull in and up, a little closer to your pubic bone. Definitely a lower belly movement now. Keep breathing. Keep exaggerating your inhales and your exhales. Keep doing this with your butt relaxed. How about one more big belly breath? And as you exhale, wrap your hands around to the back side of your thighs, close up shop once again, scoop that belly in. All right, find your toys, get your blocks. I'm holding onto the long edges of my blocks. Knees are bent, feet are flat. I'm going to remove my pillow. Hopefully you do too. Remove that pillow. And when the pillow comes out from beneath your head, you know your hips are going in the air. So I'm holding onto the long edges of my blocks. My knees are bent, feet are flat. Just scoop that belly and do that pelvic thrust tilt. Exhale, peel my hips up off the ground and then slide those bricks underneath my butt. So I've got one block for each butt cheek configuration. Bring one knee at a time, both knees into your chest. Really spread out your lower back. Maybe rock your hips a little side to side and make sure those blocks are positioned low, below the belt, underneath your hips. Set one foot down, set both feet down. Feet go apart, as wide apart as the mat. Toes turn in, knees lean together. Hands go low on your belly. So now your hips are elevated and the bricks are low down underneath your hips so that you have a scooped in belly. Your hips maintain that pelvic thrust tilt. as they are elevated on the blocks. Hands on your lower tummy. Big belly breath. And exhale, zip up those tight yoga pants. Squeeze your thighs closed. Get a good strong pelvic thrust tilt to happen. And inhale, relax. And exhale, squeeze your thighs closed. Pull in that pelvic floor. Do that pelvic thrust tilt as you scoop your belly in, press all your breath out. You can use your fingertips and drag from pubic bone up to waistband along the inside of your hip bones. Inhale, relax. And as you exhale, drag and dredge and press all the breath out. Really scoop in that lower belly. Use your fingertips and drag that muffin top up underneath your front ribs. Inhale. And exhale. Two more. Big inhale. Big exhale. One more time. Big inhale. And big exhale. So maintain this scooped pelvis, this dragged, scooped up abdomen as you bring one knee at a time, both knees into your chest. I'm leaving my hands on my tummy. I'm putting my thumbs on my front ribs, my fingertips on my hip bones. There's a short distance between rib cage and hip bones. Knees come in towards my chest. Legs go straight up into the air. I'm going to cross one big toe on top of the other. When I cross one big toe on top of the other, this orients my legs in such a way that my legs can get very straight. Now, your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is to check in with your hair. Notice where your head is on the ground and try not to move your head. Do not let your head slide. Front ribs are tucked in. Distance between hip bones and rib cage is short. Deep wrinkle across your belly. Begin with an inhale. And as you exhale, pull in that pelvic floor, scoop in your belly even stronger. And then maintaining all of that. This is your starting position. Let your right leg descend down, maybe 2/3 of the way towards the floor. Your challenge is to keep the distance between hip bone and rib cage very short on your belly and not mess up your hair. Scooped in, hollowed out belly. You can even drag those fingers up towards your waistband again. Make sure you got a good deep wrinkle of skin across your tummy. And squeeze everything in towards midline. Engaging that pelvic floor is part of your core musculature. So squeezing your thighs towards midline helps you keep that abdominal engagement going on. After 2 or 3 or 4 breaths, you may notice that right leg gets a little bit heavier and it can descend down closer to the floor without your belly lengthening. Your belly stays short. You're still grabbing as much tummy here in your hands as when you first lowered that leg. Now, ideally, your hair is not getting messed up. Good, inhale. And as you exhale, shorten that right leg, pull it into your pelvis, and then haul it up. And again, good technique does not mess up your hair. Toes turn in, cross one big toe on top of the other. Reestablish those front ribs are tucked in. The distance between rib cage and hip bones is nice and short. Belly, pelvic floor pulled in nice and tight. And as you exhale, lower that left leg down, maybe 2/3 of the way. Just go to that first stopping point. Distance between hip bones and rib cage stays very short. And you're breathing. If I'm talking, you're breathing. I'm always talking, you're always breathing. And it takes 3 or 4 breaths for that left hip flexor, that psoas muscle, to begin to release. And maybe that left leg will descend down a little closer to the ground without your hair getting messed up, without your belly relaxing. Squeezing everything in towards midline like you're gotta pee, like you're doing this wearing a short skirt. Inhale. As you exhale, prepare, shorten that left leg. Make sure you still have that pelvic thrust tilt going on, and then drag that left leg all the way back up to meet the right. Good. You're gonna bend both knees, set both feet flat down on the ground. Inhale, relax, big belly. And Exhale, get ready for round two. Well, round two is pushing into your feet, lifting your hips up, removing the blocks. I took both blocks out. Now I'm just going to take one block and I'm going to put it across my hips, low. So this is a little less stable. It's low down underneath that tailbone, sacrum area. I still have that scooped in belly, but this less block allows me to stretch the left leg straight out and let my right knee butterfly open out to the side. So it's like a tree pose. And it's getting one big stretch across that lower abdomen. Again, same technique. Front ribs are tucked in. You're dredging, scooping in that belly, feeling that left hip joint really yawn open. Depending on how big your backside is and where that block is positioned, you want it fairly low. You have that pelvic thrust tilt, and you feel that big stretch across the front of your hips. We're hanging out here for 2 or 3 breaths. Letting that left hip joint really yawn open. Power that left leg straight, pressing through the heel, flexing the foot flat. And release. Knees bent, feet flat. Switching sides. Shoot that right leg straight. Let your left knee butterfly open out to the side. And you might need to fidget a little bit. You want that block really low so that you can maintain that scooped in belly. So I have to kind of fidget and work that block down low near the very tip of my tailbone. So I can scoop in that belly, feel that big stretch across the front of that right hip. Right thigh squeezes in towards midline. Foot flex flat. Power leg. Big stretch here. Whew. I sometimes think about like those C-section scars. Maybe this is a good stretch of that scar tissue there. How often do we feel this area stretching? Most of the time, we've got gravity just kind of wrinkling things up in that area. The lower belly settling down low. Well, we're trying to reverse the effects of gravity here. Have that scooped in belly. Big opening stretch. And release. Knees bent, feet flat. All right, lift your hips up again, remove the block. Nothing underneath your butt. Knees bent, feet flat. And if you want to put that pillow back in place, go ahead. Insert pillow beneath your head. Clear the clutter out of the way because I'm going to take a twist. So knees bent, feet flat. Bring one knee at a time, both knees into your chest. Rock from side to side and feel that lower back really spread out across the floor. Knees bent, feet flat, knees coming close to your chest, arms open out to the sides. Inhale, prepare. And as you exhale, take both knees over to the right, coming into a twist. You might get a little adjustment in your lower back as you take this twist. Nice deep breaths here. With an inhale, lift the top leg up first, bottom leg up second, coming to neutral. Once again, move your arms out to the side, clear the deck, inhale. And exhale, drop both knees over to the left, coming into a twist. Deep belly breaths will encourage that lower back to rotate a little bit further. And then inhale, top leg up first, bottom leg up second. Knees bent, feet flat. Locate your right leg, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Both feet stay flexed flat. You've got your left foot flat down on the ground and your left foot stays flexed. You're going to rock to the pinky toe edge of the left foot as you push your right knee away. Your right hip will come off the ground. And then you come back up and you rock to the inside arch side of that left foot. Keep pushing that right knee away. Left hip lifts up. Yeah. And you're going to continue to tick-tock side to side. And if you're like me, you need to hold on to that pillow, because if you're like me, you slide. You tend to travel down your mat. Your hips kind of work their way closer to that left heel as you tick-tock side to side. Everything becomes a little shorter, more compact. As you do this, keep that belly scooped in, keep the front of your hips open. Keep pushing that right knee away as you tick-tock side to side here. Doing all kinds of lovely things for your lower back. And you might find that your shins might start to stack or get closer towards stacking. Maybe that left foot wants to wiggle a little closer to the right hand edge of your mat. And as you shift everything to the left, maybe that right knee starts to stack towards the top or on top of that left ankle. If you're familiar with fire log pose, it's kind of like a fallen fire log pose. Oh, there she is, yoga chicken. And come to neutral. Shoo that chicken away and let's switch sides. You're going to cross that left ankle over the right thigh. Right foot flat on the ground and you tick-tock side to side. Keep pushing that left knee away the entire time. Doing all sorts of fun things for your lower back, especially if you can keep your belly pulled in. Keep the front of your hips open. And the second side always goes faster. You might take that right foot on the floor, maybe wiggle it a little further to the left so that your shins stack up. Fire log pose, Agni Stambhasana. Fallen fire log pose, Supta Agni Stambhasana. Couple more tick-tocks here. And then come to neutral. Reset. Knees bent, feet flat. Bring one knee at a time. Both knees into your chest. Rock from side to side, spreading your lower back and hips out across the ground. And then pick a side. You're going to roll on over and keep rolling on over, all the way over onto hands and knees. Padding goes beneath your knees, hands go beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips. And I recommend having your toes curled under so you get that added toe stretch. Toes curled under. I really try to tuck my toes under tight so the fascia on the underside of my feet stretches. Begin with an inhale, head up, tail up, your sway back cow. And exhale, pull your tummy and tuck your tail under for your cat. Oh, and just work it out. Inhale for a big sway back cow, big bottom cow, stick out your butt. And as you exhale, pull in on that pelvic floor, scoop in that lower belly, tuck in your front ribs, dramatic cat. And keep working it. Inhaling for cow. Exhaling for cat. Waving your spine back and forth. We did something very similar at the very beginning of class when you had your butterfly knees opening and closing, when you had your hands on your tummy and you were arching your back. Well, your knees are on the floor. They're not really going to go anywhere, but engage as if you're squeezing your thighs closed as you come into that cat pose. And as you inhale, engage as if you're spreading your heels. Knees don't go anywhere, but spread your heels and feel your sit bones widen as you come into that cow. Exhale, squeeze your thighs closed for cat. Zip up on that pelvic floor for cat. And inhale, spread your heels, spread your sit bones for cow. So you're not exactly flapping your legs like a butterfly, but you're working them. Getting those legs engaged as you wave your spine back and forth. And the next time you inhale into that big bottom cow, heels spreading, sit bones spreading wide, find that lower belly and come to a neutral position. Keep those sit bones wide, those heels wide. As you lift that lower belly, you got an extra set of hands. It's that dredging sensation of pulling up on the inside of those hip bones all the way up to your waistband, tucking everything underneath your front ribs, coming to a neutral spine, and then lift up your knees an inch off the mat. I moved the pillow out of the way so you can see my knees are hovering. Squeeze your thighs closed and then continue to straighten your legs, lifting your hips even higher into your downward facing dog. Now my dog feels a little short, so I'm going to walk my hands forward, a generous hand print, just to take up more space. I'm going to be a big dog this morning. Take your feet as wide apart as your mat and take your dog for a walk. As you take your dog for a walk, spread your heels, spread those sit bones. Keep a slight bend in your knees so you can stick out your butt. And then balance that backside by lifting up your lower belly. Sucking in your guts. Dragging, that you're spiritually dragging from your pubic bone through the inside of your hip bones to your waistband and tucking your guts underneath your front ribs. As you do this, pedaling your feet from side to side, work it. And really pay attention to what's going on in your hips, your pelvis, your abs, your back. All right, I'm going to pull my pillow over once again. I'm going to have that pillow go underneath my left knee as I step forward with my right foot. I've turned myself to face the screen here. You can orient any way you like. But if you've got more than one yoga mat, you might orient yourself to look towards the screen also. Left knee on some padding, right knee forward. Also notice I've got blocks underneath my hands. I'm going to inch that front foot forward, drive my hips forward, come into a nice long, low lunge. My back toes are curled under. I know you can't see them, but they are curled under, and I've tucked that outer left kneecap down on the ground. I'm picking up the back leg here, and I'm tucking that back knee in narrow, resetting it down. Tight, close to midline. Hands on blocks, hips driving forward. With my back toes curled under, I'll quickly spin and show you that. With my back toes curled under, I can still have that sensation, that activity, that pressing the back heel wide. As I press the back heel wide, I kind of twist my hips. As I press the back heel wide to the side, I can drag the front thigh backward. If there was a clock face painted on my butt, you would see my hips are rotating clockwise, pressing that left heel wide, dragging that right thigh backward, getting a twist in the hips. And we've been here for a few moments. Let's go ahead, release, and switch sides. So pillow, if you're using one, goes underneath your right knee. Left foot goes forward, right toes curled under. Nice long, low lunge. Hands on blocks. I'm going to curl the back toes under, lift that back knee in, up and tuck that back knee in narrow. And reset it down. Back heel spreads wide. Front thigh pulls back, and I get that counterclockwise rotation in the hips. Prying those hips open. And release. Let's switch once again. Right foot forward. Left knee down on some padding. Left toes curl under. Tuck that back knee in narrow. Get that twist to happen in the hips. Left heel goes wide, right thigh pulls back. Hips rotating clockwise. So far, so good. You take that left hand down on a lower level block. And maybe your right hand comes up onto your knee and you get even more twist to happen. You're working on that clockwise rotation on the hips. And release, switch. That twist helps you get into the outer hip a little bit. Switching sides, right knee on padding, right knee tucked in nice and narrow. Right heel wings out to the side. Left thigh pulls back into the pelvis. Counterclockwise rotation on the hips. Right hand comes down a little lower on the block towards the floor. And maybe your left hand comes up onto your lap as you twist. It's not about twisting the chest around so much. It's about spinning, rotating that pelvis. Going for that hip sensation. And release. From here, go ahead and pivot into a wide-legged forward fold. That's what the side view might look like. Toes turn in, heels kick out, wide-legged forward fold. Toes in, heels out, nice wide-legged forward fold. Knees unlocked. Toes turn in, heels spread out. With your knees unlocked, widen those sit bones even more. Bend your knees generously, hands come onto your lap. Round your back, find that lower belly lifted up. Scoop your guts in as you slowly round all the way up to standing. Good morning. Nice wide stride between your feet. Ankles underneath wrists. Take up some space. You got some blocks nearby. You're going to have those out in front of you. Big inhale, both arms up and overhead. And exhale, release. Oh, that felt good. Let's do that again. Great big inhale, up, up, and away. And exhale. One more time. Great big inhale all the way up. And exhale. All right. Hands on your thighs. You're going to bend your knees. Spread your heels. Spread your butt. Stick it up. Press your inner thighs back. Coming into a forward fold. Come to a flat tabletop back. Hands can come onto blocks. And on this flat tabletop back, pull in that lower belly. Lengthen your lower back. Take the arch out of your sway back. Lower belly scoops in. Now here's the challenge. You want that lower belly scooped in, but those sit bones, those heels wide. Right hand can go on the block or fingertips can go on the floor. Inhale, sweep that left arm up, up, and away. Big twist. You're supporting yourself with those lower abs. That bottom hand weighs nothing. Knees unlocked, heels wide, sit bones wide, lower belly lifted. And release. Left hand replaces right with an inhale, sweep up, up, and away. Twisting. And release. Oh, so good. Let's switch again. Right hand down. Inhale, left arm up, up, and away. Knees unlocked, heels wide, sit bones spread, and then find that lower belly. Pulling in on that lower belly, zipping up on that pelvic floor. Can you open up the hinge between your sacrum and your lower lumbar spine? The tag in the back of your pants. Can you open that area up? The tag in the back of your pants. Spread it out. And switch. Left hand down. Inhale, right arm up, up, and away. Knees unlocked, heels spread, sit bones spread. Lift that lower belly, pull in on that pelvic floor. Maybe tuck in your front ribs just a touch and try to open up the tag in the back of your pants. Go ahead, spread out that tramp stamp, that tattoo. Make it even bigger. And release, forward fold. How low can you go? Transitioning into a downward facing dog. Do make sure both hands and both feet are on the same surface. Let your feet be as wide apart as your mat and take your dog for a jog. Let your hips swing wide from side to side. And hopefully with a greater awareness of that sacrum, that tag in the back of your pants, you can keep that lower belly pulled in, your front ribs tucked in a little bit as you swing your hips side to side. Open up that hinge even more. Trying to get that lower body, lower back, this tag in the back of your pants region, this sacrum area to really broaden and flatten, pulling in that lower belly to support it, just spread it out. And walking your feet up towards your hands, find yourself in a forward fold. Hands can be on blocks if your lower back is tender. Fingers can be around your elbows if you're really into this type of thing. Let your head hang as you swing and sway your hips side to side. Feeling a little bit more pull down the outer hips. Knees unlocked. So either your hands are on blocks or your fingers are wrapped around your elbows and you're shifting your weight from side to side, swaying like an elephant, feeling your pelvis roll across the top of your thigh bones, keeping that lower belly, that pelvic floor lifted to really pry open that sacrum area. Coming to neutral, hands come onto your lap, roll. Lift your belly, lift that pelvic floor, roll all the way up to standing. Let's do something with it. You're going to stand on your left foot. Spin your right foot out to the side. Drag that right foot up the inside of your left leg. Skip over the knee, either above or below the knee, stay off your knee. Pull in that lower belly, lengthen that lower back. Thumbs out to the side, shoulder shrug up, back and down. And here's the trick. You push your foot against your leg against the foot. Both knees are bent. Even the straight one is slightly bent. Foot goes against leg, leg goes against foot. Now, hitchhike your thumbs backwards. If this is your right knee, pull your left thumb back extra hard. Get that right knee to swing open. If you want to, you can reach down and find that lower belly and lift it up. Really open up the front of both hips. Scoop your guts up underneath your front ribs. Shrug your shoulders down. Maybe tuck in those front ribs slightly. And extending your arms out to the side. Eventually bringing your arms overhead. Keeping that lower belly lifted, pelvic floor zipped up. Standing nice and tall. Breathing. And release. Switching sides. So just know if you're doing this on carpet, if you're doing this on multiple layers of yoga mat, if you're doing this Sunday morning and your feet are cramping, it's going to be a challenge. Standing on your right foot, left knee spins out to the side. And all different things will throw off your balance. If you got any snot in your ears because you've been sick, that's going to throw off your balance. If you're on medication that causes dehydration, that's going to throw off your balance. All kinds of hormonal things happen also. Foot against leg, leg against foot. Lower belly zipped up. Shoulders up, back and down. Hitchhike your thumbs backward. If this is your left knee, your right thumb hitches back hard to open up the front of your pelvis more. Arms open out to the sides. You grow your tree all the way up to standing. More than anything, have open hips in the front. Really this spread, this uplift in the front of your body. And release. Let's switch, standing on that left foot once again, right knee spins out to the side. Tree pose, either above or below the knee. Foot pushes against leg, leg presses against foot, shoulders back, hitchhiking. Pelvic thrust, lower belly lifted, pelvic floor lifted. Arms up and overhead. If you're feeling real good about this, you can take it over towards the bent knee. Open up the side body a little bit more. Reach higher, stronger, longer, up through that left hand. Breathe. If you're feeling really good about this, the bottom hand grabs a hold of that top wrist and pulls it over. Oh, all about that pelvic thrust. Pull in that lower belly. You lift up that pelvic floor. Try to get yourself up off the ground. And then straightening on up and release. And let's switch sides. Standing on your right foot. Spin the left knee out to the side. Foot goes against leg, leg goes against foot, either above or below the knee. Holding in, opening up, growing tall, breathing deep. Reach for the sky. And if it works for you to take that into a side bend towards the bent knee, go there. Standing knee is unlocked. Reaching up with that bottom hand to pull on the top wrist to get even more side stretch. Front ribs and belly are pulled in. Even here, you're doing your abs for stability. And gracefully come out of that one. All right, let's stand on that left foot. Let's bring that right knee up, cross the ankle into your lap. So far, so good. Bend your knees, stick out your booty. So far, so good. You might have those blocks nearby. You put your hands on your blocks. Have a seat. Just giving that lower back and hip a stretch, just in case you were gripping with your butt rather than your abs. Let's make nice. Standing knee is soft, toes are spread on both feet. Feel free to wiggle around a little bit. Lift one hip, drop the other, shift some side to side. As long as your hands are on blocks, you're controlling this, you can wiggle around a fair amount. Bend and straighten, that little standing leg. Shift your weight one way or the other. Give your hips a swish. Give your hips a twist. Give one hip a lift. Whatever works for you. And I'm going to put both feet down, and then I'm going to stand up. Oh. Give it a little wiggle. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So standing on your right leg, cross that left foot up into your lap. Keep the foot flexed, flat. Hinging over, hands can come onto blocks, a coffee table, a chair, a small child, whatever you have. For balance, I do recommend holding on to something with your hands so that you can wiggle around. Keep that foot flexed flat so that you can bend and straighten your leg. You can swish your hips. You can twist your hips. You can lift and lower your hips. You can fidget and play with it. Pry open that backside. And put both feet down and stand on up. All right, taking it to a more challenging and intermediate / advanced move that I've never been able to do, but some of you might be able to get there. Has to do a little bit with your bone structure. Some sets of bones work better than others. I'm going to take my belt around my, right ankle. And instead of going for tree, and instead of crossing that foot over my lap, I'm going to try to hike that foot all the way up to the hip crease. So I can get it up high enough where I can hold on with my hand, but some of you might need to hold on with a belt. Notice my foot's pointed. I'm holding on to the ankle. Standing knee is soft. And it is a half lotus. Some of you can get that ankle up into that hip joint, and then you can actually let go, and that foot will stick. Not me, some of you. Shoulders back, chest lifted. Standing half lotus. If you are able to do this without holding on, you might be able to bring one or both hands overhead. Go, Patty, go. This one's never stuck for me. Lifting that lower abdomen. Shine your hip joints open. Have that scooped in, dredged out, lifted lower abdomen. And release. And of course, same thing on the other side. Belt going around the ankle, hauling that leg on up. Maybe it gets high enough that you can hold on with your hand. Maybe you can get that foot all the way up into your hip joint. Let that knee fall away from your chest. It's a very compact pose. Standing knee is soft. You might be able to take one or both hands in the air. And breathe. Half lotus, variation on tree pose. And release. One more time. Taking it to the next level. If this works for you, I'm going to incorporate some of that weight shifting. So moving this belt out of the way for just a moment. When I shift all my weight over onto that left leg and I put my right foot against the opposite leg, my hips can shift, can lift or lower. Lift or lower the hip. I can keep my hips level or let them go wonky. Try to keep your hips level. Okay. Taking that foot higher, up into that hip crease. If it works for you, if you've got a long enough belt, you might be able to take that belt around your back and hold on to it with the other hand. So if this is the right foot, I'm holding on to it with my left hand. Some of you got long enough arm, loose enough hips that you're actually able to hold on to that foot from behind. Imagine my hand came around to hold on to that foot. Go, Patty, go. There's always somebody who can do these things. And then check in with your hips. Are your hips level or not? Try to level those hips. Maybe grow that tree variation with level hips. Very cool. And breathe. So believe it or not, your yoga teacher is human just like the rest of you. There's poses that don't work for me. That's okay. Still try. And release. Oh. One last side. Belt goes around that left ankle. It's just like that tree pose or the foot crossed over your lap. Taking it to the next level, dragging that ankle all the way up as high as it goes without falling over. And again, some of you might be able to take that belt around your back, hold on to it around your waist. Get on up there. Try not to fall over. And go for it. One side is always easier than the other. There you go. Close approximation. Standing knee unlocked. Balancing. Here we go. Opening up the front of the hips. Trying to keep your hips level as best you can. Breathing and balancing. Very nice. And release. Oh, let's come on down for a squat. And I see I've got a hand raised here. There's a question maybe. Okay, come on down for a squat. Just in case you were squeezing your butt, just in case you were freaking out a little bit. Come on down for a squat. And breathe. And notice how broad and flat those hips feel across your backside. Hanging out in my squat, I can find my blocks. I'm going to put these blocks in what I call butt cheek configuration, and I'm going to sit on them towards the back edge of the mat. My legs can go out in front. I'm doing this little lift and separate, spread the wealth thing. My legs can go out in front. I can sit up really tall, sitting on the front edge of sit bones. Right knee bends, crosses over. Right shoulder shrug up, hitchhike, back and down. Right hand is a kickstand behind you. I'm gonna lean back so I can get my belly across, sweep that left arm up, and take it diagonal. Maybe the elbow wraps around or hooks to the outside of the knee, or you hold on with your hand as you sit tall and twist. Soften your elbows, soften your back ribs. Breathe. And release. Let's switch sides. Right leg straight out, left leg bends, crosses over. Shoulder shrug that left arm up, back and down, and I'm gonna lean back on that kickstand so I can get my belly across. Take that right arm up, diagonal across. Elbow hooks on, clips to the outside of the leg, or you hold on with your hand as you twist. Sit up tall towards the front edge of your sit bones and soften your back ribs, soften your elbows. And unwind. That one's always better the second time around, because the second time around, you're going to bend up that right knee, cross it over. This left leg is going to participate. The left leg is straight. The left leg is going to draw back into your pelvis. The left leg is going to shorten and stay short. And as you drag that left leg back into your pelvis, notice how your hips stay more squared towards the front edge of your mat. You want your hips squared towards the front edge of your mat, so the distance between front hip bones and the edge of your mat is equidistant on both sides. So shorten that left leg. Shrug your right shoulder up, back, and down. Lean back. Get that belly across. Reach up, diagonal across. Take that good twist, and then make sure those hips are squared. Dragging that left leg into your pelvis. Sit up tall towards the front edge of your sit bones. Get a twist. It's also a hip stretch. And release. Let's switch sides. Right leg out in front, left leg crosses over, and this right leg's going to stay flexed flat and short. Plug it in. Left shoulder hitchhike up, back, and down. Lean back, get that belly across. Right arm up, over and twist. And release. Lovely. All right, let's lie down. Have that pillow nearby. Have your toys nearby. Lying down. Knees bent, feet flat. Turn your toes in. Let your knees lean together. Hands come low on your belly. Take some nice deep belly breaths. Notice how your low back feels. And you might spread things out a little bit more. Notice how much more of you is touching down. Your toes turned in, your knees leaning together. Your inner thighs are sagging, hanging down towards the ground. As you extend, if you choose to extend your legs, you want to let your inner thighs lead the way. So as I press one leg straight, I'm going to spread my hip out, encourage that inner thigh to touch down first. And then the other leg. Inner thigh leads the way, spreading out the outer hips, trying to get those inner thighs to touch down first. They may or may not touch, but it's the effort, the thought that counts. Yeah? Get those inner thighs to descend down first, and then you just release your feet. Let your feet go floppy, and maybe the lower leg turns out. Inner thighs turn in, lower shins turn out. Find some nice deep belly breaths and feel that openness across the lower abdomen, across the front of the hips. Maybe jostle your shoulders again. Wiggle your head, wiggle your jaw. And notice how much more of your backside is touching the ground. Settle in with some nice deep breaths.